In 1948, the New Yorker magazine published a short story that would generate more letters than any other piece of fiction in the magazine's history. Readers were outraged, disturbed, and some even cancelled their subscriptions. The story was The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, and it remains one of the most chilling tales in American literature. The genius of Jackson's horror begins with deception. The story opens on what appears to be a perfectly ordinary summer morning in a small American village. The date is June 27th, and the weather is beautiful, clear and sunny, with fresh warmth and the richness of a full summer day. Nothing seems amiss as children, recently released from school for summer break, play in the village square, gathering smooth stones and making piles of them. As the clock approaches 10 a.m., families begin to assemble for what appears to be nothing more sinister than a civic gathering. The men arrive first, speaking of farming and taxes, while the women, wearing faded house dresses, follow shortly after, wiping their hands on their aprons as they exchange bits of gossip. Then comes Mr. Summers, a jovial businessman who runs the coal business. Despite his cheerful demeanour, he carries something that casts an almost imperceptible shadow over the crowd, a black wooden box. This box, we learn, is older than the oldest man in town, though some of its original wood has been lost and replaced over the years, as if the village can't quite let go of this relic of their past. The mechanics of the lottery unfold with a bureaucratic precision that makes everything seem deceptively normal. Mr. Summers calls each family forward alphabetically, checking them off in his list with the same methodical care a tax collector might show. The head of each household steps up to draw a slip of paper from the black box, carefully folding it into a tight square. Everyone waits until all families have drawn before looking at their papers, a moment of shared tension that seems at first no different from any other community raffle. When Tessie Hutchinson arrives late, calling out, "Clean forgot what day it was," her neighbours laugh good-naturedly. She joins her husband Bill and their children in the crowd. The drawing begins and the atmosphere grows more tense with each family's turn. Then comes the revelation of the papers, and the Hutchinsons have drawn the marked slip. Now comes a second round of drawing, this time just among the Hutchinson family members. Each must draw again, Bill, Tessie, and their 3 children. As they unfold their papers, Tessie is revealed as the winner. And here comes the story's devastating twist. This is no ordinary lottery. The entire village, including her own family, begins picking up stones. The horror of what's about to happen becomes crystal clear. This yearly tradition, this lottery that the village carries out with such familiar casualness, ends with the ritual murder of one of their own. Tessie Hutchinson's final words, "It isn't fair," ring out as the first stones begin to fly. The entire village, including her own family, surrounds her. Someone gives little Davy Hutchinson a few pebbles. The stones rain down upon Tessie as she screams, the crowd pressing closer and closer until they silence her forever. A sacrifice made in the name of tradition. The purpose behind this brutal ritual, though never explicitly stated in the story, appears rooted in ancient agricultural superstitions that reach back into humanity's darkest past. Old Man Warner, the village elder defending the practice, mutters what sounds like a half-remembered proverb. Lottery in June. Corn be heavy, soon. This suggests the lottery is a sacrificial ritual meant to ensure good crops, echoing prehistoric harvest festivals where human sacrifice was seen as necessary to guarantee fertile fields. These practices were once common across cultures, from the ancient Mayans to early European societies, where the spilling of blood was believed to feed the soil. The black box itself, though shabby, has become a sacred object to the villagers, a dark altar that connects their modern civic procedure to these primitive roots. The true horror of the lottery lies not just in the stoning itself, but in how the village has normalized this savage ritual. Notice how even the children participate without hesitation. Young Bobby Martin has already filled his pockets with stones, and little Davy is given pebbles to throw at his own mother. The villagers discuss everyday matters right up until the moment of violence, treating ritual murder with the same casualness as a town meeting. They've so thoroughly accepted this practice that they view other villages that have stopped holding lotteries as foolish and progressive, potentially inviting disaster by abandoning tradition. What makes the lottery a masterpiece of horror isn't just its shocking conclusion, but how Jackson carefully constructs every element to maximize its impact. Look back at those stones the children were gathering. Not innocent playthings, but weapons being collected with childish enthusiasm. The black box, weathered and splintered, has been stained by years of ritual violence. The nervous behavior of the villagers takes on entirely new meaning. Not the anticipation of winning, but the dread of selection. Jackson's genius lies in how she uses mundane details to mask the horror until the last possible moment. The administrative nature of the lottery, with its lists and procedures, makes it feel like any other civic event. The participants' casual attitudes suggest nothing sinister. Even the time of year the story takes place during the summer solstice only reveals its dark significance in retrospect, connecting to ancient harvest rituals and sacrificial traditions. The story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature and society. The villagers' acceptance of this brutal tradition mirrors real-world instances where communities normalize violence through ritual and routine. When Old Man Warner, the oldest villager, dismisses talk of other villagers abandoning the lottery as nothing but trouble, he represents the dangerous power of tradition to override human empathy and reason. Thanks for watching this deep dive into the lottery. If you enjoyed this analysis, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more content like this. We've got fascinating videos coming up about other classic horror stories that changed the genre forever, including Poe's The Telltale Heart and Jackson's own The Haunting of Hill House. So make sure you don't miss those. Let me know in the comments. What modern social traditions do you think might be questioned by future generations? I read all your comments and love hearing your thoughts on these classic stories. See you in the next video.